Hi, welcome to lesson 8 of the chemistry CSEC syllabus at Edu Solutions Institute. So last week's lesson, we focused on the types of reactions, right? Synthesis, combustion, decomposition, single displacement, and the double displacement reactions. Now this week's lesson, we'll be focusing on writing chemical formulas. Now, this is a part that is very important as a chemistry student to understand why compounds have this specific formula, right? We did a little on previous lessons where we looked at bonding, where we looked at any bonding with Cl to give us NaCl, because we use one sodium to bond with one chlorine. Now, today we're going to simplify that bonding process to show that we can make any compound once we know some basic information. Now, let's say we combine calcium with sulfur, right? Now, to write the formula, we're going to follow some steps. The first step is to know the charge of each. So in calcium will give away 2. Why do we know it will give away 2? Because it's in group 2. So therefore, we normally put calcium 2 plus. It's going to give away 2. Sulfur is in group 16, meaning it has 6 on its outer shell, it's going to need 2. So we know that this is going to, so we're going to call it valency. So its valency is that this is going to give 2, this will need 2. Right? Then the step 2 is that we will simplify the valencies if possible. So 2 can go into 2, so therefore we can simplify it. So calcium will be 2 over 2, sulfur is also 2 over 2. So we get 1 and 1. And then the final step is we cross over the final numbers. And what this means is, we know that calcium had 1, sulfur had 1. So we take this 1 from calcium to sulfur, take this 1 from sulfur to calcium. And that tells us that we need 1 calcium and we need 1 sulfur. So we get CaS. And this formula is, because we use 2 elements, we take the metal first, which is calcium, and then the non-metal, we put iron at the last. So we get calcium sulfide. Right? So that's a simple way, 3 easy steps to do any 2 elements together. So let's do another one. Let's take aluminum and let's take chlorine. Right? So again, we will replace, we find the charge of Al and Cl. So Al is in group 30. So that means it has 3 electrons on the outer shell to give off. Chlorine is in group 17, so it has 1 electron to get. Right? So therefore the valencies are 3 for aluminum, 1 for chlorine. Right? So now the next step is we simplify. Can we simplify aluminum 3 and chlorine 1? No, because the smallest here is 1. If you divide 1 by 1, we get 1. 3 by 1, also get 1. It gets 3, sorry. So therefore, that's the simplest form you can go. So the final step now is to do that crossover. So we will cross over So we have aluminum 3, Cl1. So the aluminum will take this 3 over to chlorine, and this chlorine one will take it over to aluminum. So we get 1 aluminum, that's just Al, but we get 3 chlorine, so that's Cl, and we put the 3 here to represent 3 chlorines. And that gives us, again, the metal first, aluminum, and the chlorine will become chloride. And that becomes aluminum chloride. And that's all. You can use any two elements, metal, non-metal, to get a formula. Right? Now, we have what we call ions, or polynomial, or polyatomic ions, sorry. And by the name suggests, poly means more than one, atoms, and so that's coming from the atomic. So we have polyatomic, and the ions will tell us how much it means to lose or to gain. Right? So these are ions, and you will need to know by heart. So first one is NH4 plus, and this ion is called ammonium. Notice it's a positive charge, it's going to give 1. So it's a form, so we can put it under the metal part, but it's giving away. Right? We have sulfates, SO4, 2 minus. It's a minus, so we can put it under the non-metal part. Okay. We have our phosphates, PO4, 3 minus. This one is called phosphate. It's also under the non-metal group. Right. We have the carbonate, CO3, 2 minus. And this is under the carbonate group. We have the nitrates, NO3 minus. We have the nitrites, NO2 minus. We also have the sulfide, which is SO3, 2 minus. So these are popular polyatomic ions that we will use or you will see a lot of. Right? So you need to know them because you will see compounds with these names in. So let's do one example to show how we use these ions to form compounds. So we're going to use 2 of them. So let's use ammonium and let's use phosphate. So remember, step 1 is to check on their valencies. So for ammonium, let's just write the formula. NH4 plus, so that's just 1. And phosphate is PO4, 3 minus, so that's 3. The next step is to put them in their smallest form, which is still just 1 and 3. And then step 3 is to cross them over. Alright, so therefore ammonium is 1, phosphate, which is 3, we take this 3, put it over here, and take this 1, put it here. So therefore the formula for this is starting with the positive metal one first, so that's NH4. Now this says you have 3 NH4. How do you put? You don't put the 3 here, because if you put the 3 here, it only goes for the H. So we want to show it goes for both. We put a bracket to show it's for both. and then it's 1 PO4, so it's just PO4. And this tells us that this formula is ammonium phosphate. Nothing needs to change. We just add both names together. Alright, so very simple way of doing it. Alright, let's use a element and a polyatomic. So let's use sulfate going with aluminum. Alright, so in this case, we have first thing is to get down our valences. So aluminum 3 plus, because it's in group 13, it will give 3. So that's 3. Sulfate is SO4, 2 minus, so therefore it will give 2. Alright, in its lowest term, it's just 3 and 2 because there's no common factor between 3 and 2. Step 3 now is that we're going to switch over. So the 3 from aluminum will switch to the sulfate, and the 2 from the sulfate will switch to the aluminum. So therefore the final answer here is that aluminum is going to be 2, so Al2. Notice the difference, Al is one thing. So we just put a 2 there. No bracket is needed because it's just one thing. And then we need 3 SO4. So SO4 is 2 things together. So we have to bracket to show that it's 3 of each that we need. So it's 3S and then 3 times O4 that we need. So therefore the formula here is aluminum sulfate. And that's how we will name any chemical formula that we have in chemistry going forward between metals and non-metals. So hope this was an interesting lesson and you learned something today. So I'll see you next week where we will apply these principles going forward. So thanks for watching and see you next time.